Hi, this is Miss Obermeyer and this is Digital Photography class. Today we're going to talk about the color balance adjustment layer to fix any color shift in an image. So different lights burn or at different color temperatures, and those different color temperatures appear different when a camera photographs them. Sometimes for example, here there are warmer lights coming from the windows inside the houses. So, for example, you can buy light bulbs that have different color temperatures. Some can be a little warmer and it gives the whole room kind of a warm and cozy feel, and some can be a little cooler and they can appear very bright and more institutional. And generally in a workspace you want a cooler light, and in a living space you want a warmer light. So again, they appear differently on film or when photographed by a camera. Now in this particular picture, the light looks very yellow, and then the outside light looks kind of bluish, which is kind of a nice combination. So sometimes a color shift can be used artistically, and you don't always have to change it. But sometimes it can be really kind of annoying, for example, and look really bad and really off, especially when we're dealing with skin tones. So you can see the picture in the upper left-hand corner has like a reddish orangish tint to it, and it makes the boy's skin look way too kind of orange. If you see the one on the bottom right, that one is color corrected. Okay, so the skin tone looks normal, it looks more neutral. So we're going to be talking about when you have a photo like this and you have an issue with the color shifting away from the neutral normal color, you can fix it in any photo, in photo editing apps. We're going to be using Photopea to do ours. Okay, so the reason there are color shifts are that different light sources have different color temperatures. They're measured on a scale called the Kelvin scale. Okay, so color temperature, if it's very blue or cool light, then it is burning at a higher color temperature. If it's very yellow or warm light, it's burning at a lower Kelvin color temperature. So this is the Kelvin scale, okay, and some examples of how those lighting sources appear on film. So, warmer lights like candlelight or incandescent light tend to look yellow and orange on, when photographed. Fluorescent lights, which are cooler, and they're oftentimes used in school, sometimes those can appear greenish on, on camera. And then bright, blue sky is a cool light, okay, and it appears, pretty natural actually. The cool light looks pretty natural on camera. All right, now again, sometimes you leave the color shift for artistic reasons. Like the one in the middle has kind of this sickly green color, but it kind of goes along with what is going on in that picture. This is actually from a movie, because most of the things that we talk about, also relate to filmmaking. And of course, the one on the bottom has that orange warm glow. So you wouldn't necessarily have to, change the color or make it more neutral. Okay, so your camera has an adjustment called white balance, especially if you are using a DSLR, a digital single lens reflex camera that has manual settings. You have a setting called white balance. And white balance allows you to choose different kinds of light, different colors of light that your camera then will adjust the color within the picture. Now, in this picture, you can see the first one is set for the correct light. So I think I had it set, this is my daughter. She was in it was a sunny day. So there's a sunlight setting, and then there's also like a partly cloudy setting, there's a shade setting, and so on. There's a fluorescent light setting, and so on down the line. There's also for professional photographers or studio photographers, you can set custom white balance. And that allows you to take a picture of something that is just maximum white. You take a picture of it, and then you tell the camera, this is what I want you to use as white. And then it adjusts all the other colors based on that picture. Okay, now in our phones and if you're using a DSLR in auto, the auto white balance is going to kind of try to guess what the white balance is. All right, so this one right here, the color balance was set, or the white balance was set properly on the camera to partly cloudy. And then in all these others, I set it wrong. So you could see how it shifts the color. Okay, so this one appears too red. This one appears too yellow. And this one has kind of a green or cyan shift to it. And you can really see those color shifts, especially in the skin tone. Okay, the neutral tones is where you want to really look. Now in this black, you can see this looks pretty black. It's a little harder to see in the darker colors, and that's why, in a lighter skin tone, it can be easier to see. Okay, now here is an example of this. Your eyes are going to get used to this in just a second, but again, the easiest place to detect color shift is in the neutral tones. The neutral tones are white, gray, and black. Okay, these colors they're tones, they do not have color to them, or they should not. If you're looking for color shift, they should not have they should not have a color to them. Okay, they should appear as they do on the left here. This one right here is, maximum black. It does not have a color shift. This one is middle gray. It does not have a color shift. And this one is maximum white, and it does not have a color shift. If you look, at each one of these, the next one down the line, each of these has a reddish color tint. Then we have a greenish color tint, your yellow color tint, and your blue color tint. Okay, so your eyes will get used to it the more you look for it. Okay, so again, skin tone is a place that you can absolutely see that color shift. Okay, so in order to do color correction in any app, you should know something about the primary colors of light, and they are different than they are in paint. So in paint, which you probably learned in grade school or in other art classes, the primary colors are yellow, red, and blue. Okay? But in photography and in light, where the primary colors are red, green, and blue. Okay, so, the secondary colors when we're talking about light are cyan, magenta, and yellow. Okay, so when you put all these colors together, even though when we're talking light, when we're talking about light, when we put all those colors together, we actually get white. It's kind of a weird thing that happens with light. If you put all those colors together in paint, you would probably get, a darker brown color. Okay? So the other thing that's important to know when you're doing color correction is the complementary color or the opposite color of the color that we're talking about. So the opposite or the complement of red in light is cyan. Okay, the complement of green is magenta, and the complement of blue is yellow. Okay, so in order, like if something is shifting shifting and looking too red, you see that the picture looks too red, you have to add the opposite to neutralize it. Okay, so if it's too red, you would add cyan. If it's too cyan, you would add red. And down the line, if it's too green, you add magenta. To magenta, you add green. To blue, you add yellow. And to yellow, you add blue. Okay, now this is actually from Photoshop. It's very similar in Photopea. So if we get back into school and you get to use Photoshop, it's going to look very similar. Okay, so this is the color balance adjustment layer right here, and this is a photograph that's shifting in color. And if it looks kind of cyan. Cyan is like a bluish green, okay? And you can see it very easily because there are a lot of neutrals in this picture. Okay, she's got this is like her hair is kind of a light yellow, and the couch is actually gray. Okay, so this one you can very easily see what, the shift is. Okay. So you have to decide first, how is it shifting? Okay, and we can also, the other thing you can do is you can change the color shift, okay, or the color balance, I should say, the color balance in the midtones, which are the middle, the middle tones, in the highlights, which are the light tones, or in the shadows, which are the dark tones. So right now we have it set on the midtones. So here we're adding a whole lot of red to take some of the cyan out to neutralize it. And you can see these are the results. It's looking much better. Okay. And the next one, we're going to take some green out. Okay, now it's looking even better. And we're also taking some blue out. Okay. And then we're going into the highlights and doing the same thing, taking a little more red out. Well, in this one, yeah, we're adding a little more red. This one, we actually are going a little back towards green and a little more towards blue here. The shadows, you can adjust in the shadows as well. Okay, and now I'm going to take you, now that we've done with the slideshow, I'm going to take you over to Photopea. All right, and here we go. I've already opened this picture, and you can download these from Teams under the Color Balance Practice assignment. All right, so I've opened this from my computer. All right, so first I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. I can either use the magnifying glass here and the plus to make it bigger. Okay, and next, let's see, I'm going to make it just a little smaller. Next, we're going to go ahead with our adjustments. So we're going down to the adjustments, pop up here. It's the half white, half black circle. We click on this, and this time we are going to be looking for color balance. All right. So it looks a little bit different than Photoshop, but it's very similar. Okay. All right, so it doesn't show the opposite color. You just have to know the opposite color in this case. In Photoshop, it shows you, the opposite color. It would say cyan on the other side. Okay, so it also starts with the shadows. I actually like to start with the midtones, so I would switch it to the midtones first. Okay, so we know that it is too cyan, so we're going to add the opposite of cyan, which is red. Oops, I'm going the wrong way. There we go. We're adding red. When I go this way, okay, if it's too red, okay, so if it's too red, I'm going to go towards red here. They had to change it a little bit okay? But if it is too cyan, I'm going to add red. Okay, now I want to watch my tones, especially, I'm watching the couch especially, and her skin tone. Okay, so in the couch, if I start to see that it's getting a little bit shifted towards red, I'm going to back it off. So I kind of have to use my eyes and kind of zero in on the most neutral tone. All right, next, okay, we are going to see if we need to like take any green out, or so to take some green out, I would go this way. Again, I'm watching, you know, I don't want it to get too magenta, which is the opposite of green. Okay. So I'm looking, kind of zeroing in on that neutral. And then blue. Okay, this way, and if, yeah, so I think I'd go this way and take blue out. Again, I got to keep going because I don't want to add too much yellow. Yellow is the opposite of blue. And again, in Photopea, you just have to kind of know that. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good. Now I did try this earlier, and let's see, I'm going to try taking a little red out. See how that looks. Okay. Adding red, it doesn't look bad in her skin tone. People tend to like redder skin tones, but yeah, I do start to see red in, you know, if I go too far, I do start to see red in this neutral tone in the back. Now I've edited this in Photoshop before, and it seems a little more precise. I can go into, you know, each one of them and change it a lot more and get it a little more precise, but it's pretty good in Photopea too. So in the shadow area, I might actually add a little red, which is what I did in the Photoshop version too. Okay. So you're kind of zeroing in on what looks like the most natural. All right, so now that I'm done, I turn this off. I'm turning that color balance layer off to show you what it looked like originally, and now what it looks like here. And I might go back in and kind of play around with that red. That's pretty good. Whoops. Yeah. Always trying to keep it pretty neutral. Okay. So that's pretty good there. All right. There we go. I keep going back and forth on that one. So once you are done, you're going to save this. We're going to go to File. And again, we are going to be uploading these, so we'll export them as JPEGs, which will flatten out that color balance layer. Okay. We're going to go ahead and do the quality at 100% and save. Okay. And drag it onto your desktop. And of course, you should change it to your name and color balance layer. And you will be uploading these to a channel that will get graded. Okay? All right. So once you're done with that one, we close it up. And we're going to open from your computer. There are other ones that I'd like you to do. So there's a number 1, a number 2, and a number 3. Okay. All right. So for each one of these, you're also going to color balance them. So that is your challenge. So when you're finished, you'll add, of course, you're going to add the color balance layer, and you're going to adjust it yourself, trying to get it as neutral as possible. Some of these might be a little difficult because they are really off color, but do the best you can to get the white to look white, the black to look black, and the middle grays to look middle gray, the skin tones to not have a shift in color. All right, well, good luck, and save all three as JPEGs, and you will upload the 4 pictures, the one we did together, and these 3 images onto our Teams page, onto the Color Balance Practice channel. All right, thanks a lot. Good luck.